What is going on, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Elevation with Chris Oram, the show where we talk to individuals who have climbed the ladder of success. Today, we have a solo cast, and this episode is going to be titled You Owe You. And it may be looking like Elevation with Chris Oram is in a new studio, and you're in fact correct. We're live from a brand new podcast studio, the Origin Podcast Studio here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I want to give a big shout out to my friend and owner of the studio, Dylan Vanis, who's invited me to come out to the studio, and I've really just been having an incredible time so far. So I hope you enjoyed the crystal clear HD quality and the top production quality here at the studio. But I also want to give a big shout out to everyone who supported the podcast and gotten us to episode 30. I really would not have been able to do it without your support, and I thank you for watching week after week. I thank everyone who's been supportive. I thank anyone who's wronged me, and I really thank everyone for continuing to support the show, and I just want to express my gratitude for that. When I say today's show is titled You Owe You, it's really after the hit book by Dr. Eric Thomas, You Owe You. And you may know Dr. Eric Thomas from the How Bad Do You Want It kind of motivational speech on YouTube. This was back in the day of my high school football career. Everyone was watching it to get more motivated. And it's like, how bad do you want it? Do you want to be successful as bad as you want to breathe is really the key kind of slogan that Eric Thomas had coined. And in this podcast, I want to talk about your relationship with yourself. And it's really no better time to do this on a solo cast because I want to talk about the 10 principles in the book, You Owe You, and how they apply to my life and how I can think that they can apply to your life as well. So this video is going to be a raw video. You're going to know more about me. You're going to know about my flaws, my strengths, my weaknesses, really just what goes on inside the mind. And we can start by talking about the mind because that is the one thing that you can control. You can't control external circumstances in your world. You can't control the sensory world. You can't control what other people are going to do. But the one thing that you can control is your mind. And that all starts with your thoughts. So, for example, if I had an issue with someone or someone has wronged me, you can focus on that. You can hold a grudge. You can hold blame to them. You can think poorly. And that is going to take over your mind. Is that a good thing to take over your mind? Do you think that's going to make you happy and positive and live the best life you possibly can? No, it's not. So I'm going to tell you the two things that I think about when I get into a bad state of mind. And you might think that this is kind of crazy, but all I really say are these two things. If I'm stuck in a bad loop, a bad mental loop, what I say is, I love myself. I love God. I am awesome. And that really, you just think about gratitude and being grateful. Those are things that can quickly change your mindset to overall get you in a better state of mind. We don't want to hold grudges. We send love to people who have wronged us, and I think that's a great start, and I think that's how we want to start out the show. So let's talk about these 10 principles by Dr. Eric Thomas, and we'll go over them, and I'll kind of tell the story of how I climbed the ladder of success. Because really, if you guys have been watching the show for a long time, you know that I was the worst at every single thing I've ever done. I was the worst at my job. I was out of shape. I was broke. I had bad habits, bad addictions, not good social relationships, things like that. But it's all about accepting the fact that you are those things and learning that you can become more and climb that ladder of success. And look at us now. Like, it's really incredible to think where we've become and where we're going. So, principle number 1 by Dr. Eric Thomas is take ownership of your life. Don't make excuses, don't blame others, and really just understand that every choice in your life and where you're at in life is because of the choices that you've made. It's so easy to point the finger at your coworker, your girlfriend, your parents. All these people are very easy to blame because they may have had some part in your result. But at the end of the day, as a man, as a woman, we need to take ownership for the things in our life. And the best way that I can describe this is when I worked with Coach Jocko Willink, who you guys may know is a world famous Navy SEAL, and he runs the leadership consulting group Echelon Front. Back in 2020, when I was down bad, I bought the $2,000 ticket to go to the Echelon Front muster event. And I couldn't afford that at the time, but something in my heart told me that I was meant for more. I was meant for more in this world, and I was going to go out there and get it. And when Jocko says that everything is a leadership problem, that's true. Everything in your life that isn't where it needs to be just comes down to leadership. You need to lead yourself. You need to lead others. You need to lead your team, and you need to especially lead your mind. And I think going to that extreme ownership event really changed my life. It made me start to think about leadership as a different thing. Because if you have a direct report, and I have several direct reports, if they don't understand an instruction that you've given to them, whose fault is that? Many people will say it's their fault. They didn't understand it. They didn't ask questions. But I changed the frame and I said, this is my fault. Because you don't understand this, I did a poor job of explaining. I could have done better. And I think that's where the thing started to shift. I started to take ownership for the things that I can control in my life. And those are all I can validate myself on. Did I do what I said I was going to do that day? Did I hold my word to myself? Did I hold my word to others? And these are all things that you very much have to think about because it's truly one of the most important things. And that's why that is principle number one. So what you can learn from me is that always investing in yourself is a great thing. There's never a bad time to invest in yourself because life is going to be long. And why I went to that conference is because I saw a review of a previous muster event by someone on YouTube. And this was a doctor, an eye doctor out of Texas. And he told me, you can use these skills for the rest of your life. I wish I had learned them when I was your age, so you should definitely go as well. And when we talk about making decisions, those who make decisions quickly are those most rewarded in life. Act quick, think quick, decide quick. Quick starters. Some may hate them, some may love them. I'm a quick start. When I know something's need to be done, we don't need to talk about it. We can just make some moves. And that's going to be principle number one here. Let's dive into principle number two, and that's discover your why. So I never really knew what my purpose in life was. I was a drifter who was just trying to figure it out. I didn't know what house I wanted to live in. I didn't know what car I wanted to drive. I didn't know what job I wanted to do. I didn't know what girl I liked. I didn't know anything. I don't even know where I was. Perhaps my brain had not fully developed until I became 25 years old. That's what we're going to give the excuse to. But once you define your why, once you define your values, and then once you kind of put your faith into something above you. For instance, I went to a men's retreat earlier this year, and I gained extreme focus and extreme clarity on what my purpose was. And I'm going to say this two different ways. And the first one's kind of what automatically comes to my mind, and that's heal yourself and teach others. And what does that mean? That means that all of these things that had plagued me, my finances, my job, my weight, my things like that, all of these habits that were destroying my life silently. You know, when I was drinking every single night and gambling at the Atlantis Hotel 27 days in a row in Reno, Nevada, I knew that I was meant for more. So I just had to stop that. So heal yourself. When I stopped drinking on October 4th, 2021, I healed myself. And once I healed myself, I was able to teach others the way. I was able to become the leader for those around me that didn't know the way. I think about some of my fellow friends and colleagues that I've helped get sober and stay sober and remain the leader for them in their lives. Because I put myself in the leader position where I had no choice but to be the leader for them. I couldn't let them down by choosing to drink one night and, saying that's all right. Because when I do that, then I give them the opportunity that they can go ahead and just drink one night, and it's not going to be all that bad. But in reality, if you're a leader, you can't even slip up once like that, and it's hard. So heal yourself and teach others really became my why in life. And I know that I could do a better job of operating on that mindset on a 24/7 daily basis, but I know that is my purpose because that is what has been spoken to me. And at the men's retreat, I had learned that heal yourself is probably not the actual term. It's healing myself and then teaching others the way. So I don't think it has quite the rhyme as heal yourself and teach others, but I am healing myself every single day and teaching others the way. And I think by setting the example for your friends and family, I think that that helps you kind of position yourself to be the authority figure, the leader, the person that someone would admire, the someone that you needed in life so that you can help someone out in the same kind of principles and ways. Let's dive into principle number 3 here. This one's a great one, and that's stop looking to external validation. So one of the most miraculous times in my life is when I deleted Instagram. No longer was I going and seeing what other people were doing. I was only focusing on myself. I couldn't post a story and see how many likes I could get. I couldn't post a selfie and see how many likes I could get because that's external validation. That's seeking comfort from the outside world, and comfort is what's killing us slowly. When I had deleted Instagram and stopped validating myself externally, I was then able to take the validation and only care about the internal validation. Did I work out today? Did I wake up on time today? Did I accomplish everything I wanted to do today? Did I keep my word to myself? Did I stick to my macros? Did I do everything that I said I was going to do? And that internal validation really changed the game for me because I was on an incredible habit streak. I use an app called Strides to track my daily habits, and I have about 17 that I really do to keep me on track. Some of those are very silly habits to some people. Brushing your teeth, taking a shower, putting on deodorant, flossing. But these habits are the tasks that need to be done every day, and you get some sort of validation from checking those off. Yes, I took a shower today. That's a win. But did I also hit my workout, hit my macros, do all my task lists, and really do what I said I was going to do for the day? It's about doing kind of what works for you guys, and that's what my message is. It's like, it doesn't matter how silly it is, how big or small, which habit you're trying to track and apply. You need to go ahead and have a set of standards for yourself and a non-negotiable list. And I believe that's down on the list, is that, like, don't negotiate with yourself. If you say you're going to do something, and I think it becomes especially more difficult when it talks about your vices. Like, I said I'm never going to smoke weed again. It's like, well, my friend offered it me this one time, and I'm out of the country, and it's, late at night, and I'm angry, and I'm stressed, and, the 75 Hard program teaches you that throughout the 75 days that there's going to be so many opportunities for you to, just take the easy way out. And what we're not going to do as, viewers of Elevation of Chris Oram, the show where we talk to individuals who have climbed the ladder of success, we're not going to do that. We're going to rise above that, and we are going to elevate to higher standards for ourselves. And so that's going to be point number 3. Let's jump into point number 4. And that's going to be discipline over motivation. And we're going to give a big shout out to Layla Hermosi because it's fuck your feelings, follow the plan. And that's the most true kind of wisdom I've heard in quite some time. It doesn't matter if you feel like getting up early. It doesn't matter if you feel like working out. It doesn't matter if I feel like coming to record this podcast. When you have obligations and commitments, you stick to those things. Because when you quit, that's hurting your subconscious. That's hurting your mindset because you're taking the weak way out. And when times get hard, when things don't go your way, when disappointments happen, are you going to seek comfort or are you going to stick to your discipline? Because I can tell you, so many times in my life, I've taken back steps because I had a bad thing happen to me. Someone fucked me over. A relationship went sour. Anything like that, and that's a prime reason for people to become crippled with their own worries and fears and anxieties. Are you going to relapse on drugs and alcohol because something bad happened to you? Or are you going to keep pushing forward? I talk about the gym so much because the gym is one thing that saved me, and it's always there for me, and it's a place where I can go, and I know that the result will always be better on the other side of it. When I had a bad day previously, it was to the bar I go. A beer isn't actually going to help solve your problems. But what a beer is going to do is it's going to help distract you. It's going to help take your mind off what the actual problem is. But the problem with that is that it doesn't solve it. It gives fake confidence. It gives fake pride, and it really will not help you in the long term. In fact, I think that drinking, even, one time, things like that, every time you drink, you're taking a step back to your life. So I don't see any sort of positive values. And I was having this great discussion with my dad the other day. It's like, I really don't believe that there's any value towards drinking. I think if we're looking at value as it makes me feel good, that's kind of a terrible reason. But that's kind of where we're at with some things. It's like, really, you shouldn't take these back steps. You shouldn't purposely try and poison yourself. And that's kind of what I think about back steps. So let's take a look at point number 5 here. Turn pain into power. Turn pain into power. I want you to think about some of the darkest times of your life. And when you think about those things, I'm sure you can start to feel something. You can start to feel the emotions that you felt during that time. You can almost trick your mind to kind of reliving that experience. Are you thinking about that interaction that you had with someone? That's when you can turn your pain into power, because you learned from that mistake. You gave someone power that didn't deserve power in your life, that didn't deserve to be in your life, and you took that power back. You took what you could control in your life and your mindset, the things that you can control in your life, and you became better because of that. I think about all the terrible things that have happened in my life, and I think one of my favorite ones is, the period of time, COVID, March 2020, when I didn't get the job I wanted. I had got laid off. I was making, $10 an hour and really nothing. Like, I knew I was meant for more. So I invested in a coach to help me lose some weight. I met my beautiful fiance, Melissa. I went back to school and got my master's degree. I decided that I was meant for more, and that was the best moment of my life, because that's when things changed. We talk about BC, before COVID, and after COVID. I lived 2 different lives. And I was just telling Melissa the other day that anything before 2020, that was just practice. And now we're living life, and now we're climbing the ladder of success. Every year since March 2020, I've invested over $20,000 in self-investment. And that's going to be a big number for a lot of people, but I continue to see the return on investment. I continue to climb. I continue to master my craft and become better and better at becoming the world's number 1 smart home expert every single day. Going back to school and getting my master's degree, that cost $20,000. But did I see the $20,000 come back in my career? Absolutely. And am I going to continue to benefit for the rest of my life through that? Absolutely. Did I get benefit from having to invest in a coach, Yucky Lovato, where we ultimately transformed my body in a 1-year period? Yeah, it cost money. It stung. It was a lot of work behind it and a lot of learning curves, but I saw the results off it. And one of the things that I'm currently working on with a coach in this period of my life, this season of my life, if you will, I'm working with my buddy Wyatt, who trains at Smash Iron Fitness, and we're training every Thursday, Friday on powerlifting. Wyatt has almost added 100 pounds to each one of my lifts in just 8 weeks. And I'm going to continue working with Wyatt because we're making absolutely incredible progress. I feel that it's important to tell you about this incident because it's really been kind of, I think about every area that this has been taking place in my life. I've been lifting consistently for probably 10 years now, but at some point I stalled, I became stagnant, and I didn't keep pushing weight. I was pushing the same amount of weight that I was a year ago, and I wasn't becoming better. So I started working with Wyatt, not because I needed accountability, not because I didn't know what to do, but I need someone there with me to say, we're going to try more weight than I think than you think you can do. And that's exactly what we do week after week. Sometimes we put some weight on the bar. Sometimes we do 20-pound increments, and mentally, it's scary. When I'm putting 245 pounds on the bar, it's horrifying. But I believe in something bigger than myself, and that's God. And that's when I can have that relationship, and I know that I will be supported. And I put in the action in my sensory life to go ahead and provide the nutrition that I need, provide the exact coaching protocol for what I need to do to go ahead and have me reach my goals. And that's why I think that coaching is one of the most effective ways to time collapse where you want to go. And this, I want to give a big shout out to all my coaches in my life. Jocko, Yucky Lovato, Nikhil with YouTube coaching, Wyatt with powerlifting, Dan Coe with writing. It's just these incredible people that I get to work with the best of the best in the industries. I only work with the top people, and that's why I'm able to climb the ladder of success so much faster, is because I find the people who are doing what I want to do, and I work with them closely so that I can, pick their brain, get their insights, and learn their mistakes so that I don't have to make the same ones. In fact, I'm going to be having a big thing happening here upcoming soon. I really don't want to talk about it too much, but I've been preparing for this since 2019, and I really just can't wait to tell everyone about this because it's so big. And working in, I just can't even describe how excited I am. But there's an incredible individual that I'm having a conversation with, and the timing is so right. So we're getting a little off track, but I really can't wait to share that with you guys. So let's go ahead and dive into the next point. I kind of lost my train of thought, but that's what happens. It's all good. Okay, so this is what I told you guys about earlier. Point number 6. Stop negotiating with your goals. Literally, this one is so important because negotiating with your goals just is weakness. If you wake up in the morning and you set your alarm for 5 a.m., what time do you think you should get up? 5 a.m. When you snooze, what does that do to your subconscious? It tells you that I'm okay skipping this, I'm okay being weak, I'm okay not being the best version of myself. So, pro tip, you can actually turn off the snooze button in your iPhone. So if you go to the clock, there's like an edit option, snooze, turn that shit off, everybody. It's not good for you. When you make a promise to yourself, that's what you have to keep. And I want to dive into this a little bit more because the relationship you have with yourself, the you, that's one of the most important relationships you have, if not the most important. The relationship you have with yourself and what goes on in your mind and your self-talk is super important. The way you talk to yourself is the way that you're going to be in the world. If your self-talk is saying, I don't know if I can do this. I'm not worthy of recording in this podcast studio. I don't know that I can be the best in the industry. I'm not sure that this girl really likes me. You're going to portray that to the world. And that's not the best way to be successful. So I want you to think about your self-talk as one of the most important things that you can do about yourself. When I go running, do I say, I'm tired, I can't do this, I'm going to stop, I'm tired? Or do you say, I can go all day, I can keep going, nothing can stop me? And it's the self-talk that we talk about in our own minds that's going to drive us towards our goals or away from our goals. When you're approaching something new, something that you've always wanted to do, are you going to say, I can do this, I'm awesome, I believe in me, or I'm not sure, it might not go well, I don't know? You need to ask yourself those sorts of questions because I promise you, if your self-talk is not good, that's going to translate into other areas of your life. And that's maybe why you're not where you want to be. And don't negotiate with yourself. Don't negotiate on your principles, your values, and what you have to deliver in the world. So that's going to be point number 6. To point number 7 we go. Be honest with yourself. And this one is critical. So Dr. Eric Thomas says that you should be 120% honest with yourself. And I know for myself that some of the darkest times that I have are when I'm alone. You know, it's always easy when you're hanging around another person to not take back steps. But I find with myself, that some of the darkest times that I have are when I'm just with myself, with my thoughts. I can do anything. No one will ever know. Those are some of the craziest times because you start to think like, hey, I could go smoke a joint today and no one will ever know. But the reason that I don't go down that rabbit hole anymore is because, one, I know that on the other side of that, I'm probably going to be smoking weed tomorrow too. Number two is I decide to do it not only for myself, the love for myself to not do that, to not harm myself, but I also, do it for myself most importantly, but I do it for other people too. Like I said, I set the example for my coworkers, my colleagues, my friends, my family, my relationships, and I can't take back steps for them because I know that even if I do it secretly, that somehow they're going to find out. And I don't want to let them down in that sense. And the biggest reason that I can continue to keep going on my sobriety journey is because that I have something bigger planned for me. I think we can talk about things like this. It's like, okay, after this show's over, my podcast is done. My day's pretty much over. I don't have any major tasks to do. I think when we think about things from the perspective of there's like an end date to something, that then I can do that. But my thing is you got to keep going towards your goals. I have goals that will continue to go tomorrow, the next day, the following day, things like that, right? Like I can't relapse because I have workouts to do next week. I have bigger goals for my future. I don't have the financial stability that I currently seek for myself. So there's always more work to be done. So to take a break, and what a one night break would be for me would really turn into probably a 1 month binge where nothing gets done. So I would rather just kind of avoid what I want to do. And, we'll talk about wants versus wants, like my wants versus what I know has to be done. We talk about like, here's what I want to do. Like, hey, I want to go eat a cheeseburger. Hey, I want to go eat a beer. I want to go drink a beer. Like these are the low level things that like are so attracting because they're quick comforts. Like, I was just in the pre-show talking about one of my buddies that works at the strip club. You could go to the strip club and you're not going to get the value you need. You're not going to find what you were looking for there. You might have some quick comfort, but it's not what you need. And I think I look at myself and I know when I'm alone that those are the times where I could break, and it's just staying occupied, keeping my mind busy on productive things. Like when I become bored, boredom leads to vices. Boredom leads to desire, and desire leads to vices. And at that point is when you're going to be making a big mistake and something that you're going to definitely regret. So try and stay away from boredom. When I get bored, I always try and do new things. So I'll go record a video. I'll go for a walk outside. I will literally do anything to escape my mind and like literally run away from the temptation. Don't walk towards it. Don't chill with the temptation. Like literally, you got to run, bro. You got to run. And not to get too like woo-woo, but I want to give a big shout out to City Light Church and Pastor Jabin because City Light Church has really changed my life as well. I think when we can break life down in really simple terms and terms that many people can relate to and understand to, that's when you find value in things like church. Organized religion is not my thing, and I'm not going to be promoting organized religion really to anyone. But if you want to have a relationship with God, if you choose to go to church, then that is an awesome thing. And one of the biggest takeaways that I've gotten from going to church is this a wise activity? So we take a step back. Is what I'm about to be doing wise? Talk about smoking weed. Talk about going to the strip club. Like these are things that we all know are not wise. So are we going to do those not wise things anyways and try and ask for forgiveness? Or are we just going to not do the wise things? Are we not going to do the not wise things because we know that it's wrong? And when you take the stance that instead of doing something and then regretting it, like maybe I just shouldn't do it in the first place. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And I really just want to give a big shout out to Jabin for kind of influencing my life kind of week by week, and really shout out to the City Light Church because that's an awesome spot. And I think that that's a place that you guys should check out if you're local here in Las Vegas. Let's talk about the next point. Develop a work ethic that matches your dreams. I think this one is probably the area that I need the most improvement because I got big dreams. I got a champagne taste with a beer budget, and I want the luxuries of life. I look at nice cars. I want a nice car. I think my two biggest things that I love in life are luxury real estate and smart homes. When I work in smart homes, that goes hand in hand with luxury real estate. Dude, I want a multi-million-dollar house, but with my current actions, it's not a match. It's not there. And it really comes down to me not doing the work and coming clean with y'all and saying that I need to be putting in more work is like a harsh reality. But I think there's no better time to have the self-talk and the one-to-one real conversation. I'm here in this room by myself, right? This is a one-to-one talk. I'm here alone with my own thoughts, and I just want to express them here on camera. And I'm grateful as fuck that I get to even be here expressing my thoughts, that I'm alive, that we have a podcast that we've been doing for 30 episodes, that we're here, man. We're like living the dream. And I think if I can just live the dream more when it's not just in the moment, it's don't sit on the couch and scroll. Don't watch TV. Don't go out to the club, right? Like, love yourself, respect yourself, invest in yourself. I think that those are some of the most things that you can do. And for a while, I really did not love myself. Like, I did not love myself at all. I think I probably hated myself. And I think my actions reflected that. Because if you love yourself, you wouldn't treat yourself so poorly. You wouldn't talk so poorly about yourself. You wouldn't need to escape through the vices. And I think I really developed kind of a low self-esteem, and that's something that at one point I might have held shame for, but I believe that I'm on the right path now, and that I try and love myself more and more. I try and invest in myself. I try and not self-sabotage. Because one thing about me is that I can move forward for a year, and then I can take a step back. Step forward, step back. And you realize that you'll get so much farther when you don't take any step backs. So how do you prevent that? Because setbacks are inevitable. It's like getting back on the horse quickly. I had a commitment to myself where I was posting every single day on social media, and I did it for over a year. And one day I missed, and that just hurt so much that it like snowballed out of control where I just kept missing. And the learning lesson from that day was that you missed. Like, it's not all right, but it happens. For whatever reason, I missed, but I should have started posting again the next day instead of feeling bad about myself for not doing the action. And that was a key learning lesson. And the learning lesson was just don't ever quit. You're going to be successful as long as you don't ever quit. And that's what I have to say for that principle. So let's go. I think we're on number 9 now. Let's go. Create a legacy, not just success. So I'm going to read this word for word here. So the goal isn't just to succeed for yourself, but to create impact that lasts beyond you. Eric Thomas challenges you to live in a way that your children, community, or even the world benefit from your grind. And what that means to me is don't be selfish. Don't do it for just you. And when we're talking about creating a legacy, I'm creating my legacy here by posting the content to the world. All these conversations that we have on the show, I post for the world to see. When I had my dad on as the first episode of Elevation with Chris Oram, that was creating a legacy for our grandchildren, for our great-grandchildren, for the individuals in the Oram family that I will never be able to meet. We did that for them, and I often think about doing things for more than just ourselves. It's crazy. I was at the Neighbors today, which is a little restaurant in Las Vegas, definitely a great restaurant, but I saw a grandpa and a grandkid, and I just saw the love in that relationship, the bond, and I knew that I was meant to see that, to understand the relationship between, grandson and grandpa. I want to give a big shout out to my boy George, who his daughter Michaela recently had her baby, and George is now a grandfather. And George has been hanging out with his grandson all this week, and it just makes my heart so warm that he is getting off work at 2:30. He's like, hey, I'm going to go hang out with my grandson. Like, that is so awesome. And I see the power of creating a legacy through that. Because one day we'll all be gone in the world. And it's about, what did you do to the world? Like, did you leave a mark? Because for a lot of people, only their family will think about them a couple times, and then they're just a memory. But we talk about individuals like Steve Jobs, who've changed the world. That man left a mark on the universe, and we all use iPhones, we all use iPads, we all use MacBooks. That guy changed the world and created a legacy. And I think creating a legacy is one of the most difficult things that you can do. And creating a legacy is meaningful. So for myself, I need to work harder and start thinking about the legacy that I'm going to create for myself as well as my family. So last but not least, let's talk about point number 10, you owe you. At its core, the book is about keeping promises to yourself. You owe yourself the discipline, the grind, the honesty, and the commitment to become who you were meant to be, not for others, but for you. When I saw Dr. Eric Thomas at the Limitless Arena event, I knew that I was meant for more. When Andy Frisella came out and said that you are the chosen one for your family, if you feel the calling, you have to do it. No one's here to come and save you. And that shit hit home. Because I look around and I don't know who else is going to do it in my family. I really don't. I have to be the one to come save my family. And that shit's like real. That shit really hits home, that you can't just kind of fuck around, right? When I was drinking, smoking, gambling every single day, that was not the top version of myself. That was not the individual that was going to save the family. That was the individual that was seeking comfort on a daily basis. So something had to change. And, we're giving a lot of shout outs in this podcast, but I want to manifest this in this episode. So I've had loose conversations. I've had loose dreams about going back up to Reno this October 4th for the 4-year anniversary of my sobriety and giving a charitable donation to the Nevada Recovery and Addiction Program Prevention Center in Reno, Nevada. And when I've had these loose conversations, nothing has been finalized, but I know that that's what I'm meant to do, and I need to pursue that more. I've started the conversations. I have the intention of doing that, but I need to get the result. I need to take the action, and I need to make sure that that becomes a reality. It's not about your intention. It's about the results. So that's what we're going to talk about for point number 10. And since we do have some time here left with each other, I did make a lot of notes here prior to the UOU conversation that we're going to have. So, like I said, let's do some recap here. Episode title is UOU. And my life purpose, which came to me at the men's retreat hosted by Max E and Alex Hardy, in Austin, Texas. Shout out to those guys. We're doing big shout outs in this episode. I learned that my purpose is to heal myself and teach others the way. That's what I'm doing, and that's what this episode really is all about. So I absolutely hit home on my life's purpose with this episode. If one person watches, great. If the world watches, great. I really hope you're watching and you get value out of this. I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for my people, my family, my tribe, my legacy, and really, I just want to be in service to the world. So, we're at the new studio. That's incredible. Shout out to my boy Dylan, Origin Podcast Studio, right here on Sunset in Las Vegas, right here by the airport. We also give a big shout out to Jabin Chavez, who runs City Light Church. Incredible leader, incredible pastor, and really just doing some incredible things for the community of Las Vegas. We talked a little bit about how to feel gratitude. So I'm going to say some statements of gratitude now. So I'm grateful to be in a new studio. I'm grateful that we get to continue the podcast. And I'm most glad to have today's guest be the most important guest in the world, and that's myself. The relationship that I have with myself is the most important relationship that I have. And am I keeping the word to myself? Am I maintaining positive self-talk? Am I being the man that I admire? Am I leading myself to be the best version of myself, the 10.0 version of yourself? And that's exactly what we're doing today. We are eliminating bad relationships. We are going all in on the good relationships. We're investing in ourselves. We're going all in on ourselves, and we're just becoming the 10.0 version of ourselves. We talked about, I don't know if we talked about this one, but honestly, one of my best practices and principles is sending my worst enemies love, right? I don't hold grudges towards people anymore. I don't even give them space in my mind. All I do is send love and gratitude and just the best wishes for anyone who doesn't like me, anyone who hates my guts, man. Like, I send you my love, and that's what you can do. I want to talk about a new point, and that is this video with Mike Tyson where he talks about humans just being animals. And humans are animals, if you guys have never known that before, but we are conscious creatures. And when you're conscious, you're extremely capable. You can make ideas, you can build things in the world, you can make an impact. But when you're low-level conscious, that's when you're an animal. That's when you want to eat and fuck and do bad things with the world. And that's the low-level version of yourself. That's the 1.0 version of yourself. So as a conscious creature, you need to be in service. You need to take action, positive action. You need to invest in yourself so you can climb that ladder of success and the frequency chart as well. The frequency chart is one thing that changed my entire life. So that's by Richard Dawkins, the levels of consciousness, laws of consciousness. Like, I've never actually read the book, but I understand the principles that when you're down at the very bottom, you're at guilt, shame, anger. You climb up a little bit to neutrality. Neutrality is when you can start to even out. Like, okay, I made a mistake. I accept that. Then you start to climb to things like happiness, joy, love, enlightenment. So when we talk about our worst enemies and why I send them love, I can sit here and be angry at people. I'm angry. I am angry. Or I can, open my arms wide and wish them the best. Know that they wanted to do more but couldn't. Something prevented them from being the best version of themselves. And I reflect on myself that maybe someone needed to send me love when I was wrong. I've definitely wronged some people in my life, but I recognize that those things were wrong. I pray that those people find love and strength that I have wronged, as well as I send love to people who have wronged me. And that's where I stand on that. So let's keep going. We talk about the world inside your mind, the things that you can control. You can only control your thoughts, which lead to your actions. Your thoughts are the most important thing in your life. There's things around me. There's things I can touch. Here's my phone. I can look at it. I could smell it if I wanted to. That'd be kind of weird. But the sensory world, the senses, your sight, your hearing, your vision, your touch, those are not things that you can necessarily control. Like, yes, I can pick this up and control it. But the only thing I can truly control is my mindset. And Mel Robbins has a great book here in 2025 called Let Them. And it's the Let Them theory. It's, I can't control anything that you're going to do. So when you say the words let them, that gives power to them and takes it off of you. Like, my friend is going to go drive drunk, like, let them. I can't stop them. I wish I could. But if they're going to destroy their own life and they're going to make that decision, like, you have to let people do that. And that's, a dark and terrible example, but try to get your friends to not drive drunk. That's not a great thing, but people are going to do what people are going to do, and there's not a lot that you can do to control them. You can't make someone do anything, and that's kind of what the let them theory is. We talked about investing in yourself and that often the price of your next level up is the price you don't want to pay. No one ever leveled up with a comfort amount of investment into their coaching. It all requires a painful amount to go ahead and listen to that coach and hear their advice, right? No one wants to pay out, but they always want to get. And I found that investing into coaches is literally the best form of investment. Why would I invest in the S&P when I could invest in the S&Me 500? Shout out Alex Hermosi for that little acronym over there. We talk about my coaches that have been giving me a ton of value. Coach Lovato, Jocko, Nick Hill, Wyatt. These people have all influenced me to become the best version of myself. We talk about the men's retreat where you can focus and really be at one with your mind and your ideas. We can forgive those who have wronged us in our lives, and we can move forward and really keep pushing. We talked about how when you're alone can be one of the most dangerous times. I know for me that is literally the hardest time, that I really don't ever really want to be alone, because I know that that's when bad things can definitely happen. So sometimes, like, if I know I'm going to be alone, like, I will definitely not be alone. So if I got the house to myself for the weekend, I'm going to go hang out with a friend that weekend, because I know bad shit is going to come if I'm left with my own thoughts in a bad state, in a bad position where no one's ever going to know. And that's like a terrible mindset to get in. Like, when we get to that point in life, that's when you got to run. That's when you got to run, everybody. That's when you have to freaking run. We talk about how much do you respect yourself? How much do you love yourself? Are your actions in line with those things? Do you love yourself? Is your self-talk reflective of love or hatred? Do you think you're awesome? Do you think you're the best? Do you think that you are capable of more? Do you think of yourself as a Honda, or do you think of yourself as a Ferrari? And the people that drive Ferraris in the world, I don't drive a Ferrari. Just to be clear. The people that drive Ferraris think of themselves like a Ferrari, and I can 100% promise you that. These people have been talked down upon, probably by their close friends, their close family, that is a waste of money. Why would you buy a $200,000 car? That's not a good investment. These people are the naysayers. And I want to give an example of when people have been naysayers to me. So I just moved into my house in Southern Highlands, and I'm paying X, Y, and Z amount of money for rent. I had several people say, well, you're wasting your money renting a house. You should save more money and buy a house. You should get a bigger house. You should get a smaller house. Everyone had their opinions of what I should do for my house. And you want to know how much those opinions meant? I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate people giving their mindset. But all that was just talk. It was just talk. I had to do what I needed to do. I needed to take control of my own life. I needed to make my decision and know that I own that decision. I knew that if I'm paying X amount of money per month, that's my choice and my decision only. So I can only imagine when I'm going to get my Ferrari, how many people are going to say that that's a big waste of money. Yeah, it's a big waste of money, but that's what I want. Like, that's who I think of myself as. And yeah, let's talk about just the last couple of items is like the power of now, the power of being present, the power of thinking about 24 hours. Alcoholics Anonymous will tell you that all you have is the power over one day. I have 1 day sober. I have 1 year sober. I have 4 years sober. You can only control what you're going to do today. You only have control over your actions today. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, but I do have power to say that today I'm not going to drink. Today I'm not going to go to McDonald's and overeat. Today I'm not going to go to the strip club. Today I'm not going to harm myself in XYZ way. And I think a lot of us, if we realized what our self-talk was, is like, I'm going to go do these things to distract myself so I don't have to think about the true pain that's hurting me and solving the root problem. And The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle allows you to become in the moment, think about your breath, think about the things that are in front of you, because a lot of us can drift off to imaginary scenarios. Let's talk about this fight that I had with my girlfriend. And, I could keep living that over and over and over and over again in my head for the next year. But that's terrible. That's going to give you a bad mindset. You have to think positive. You have to stop reliving these bad moments. And you have to keep pushing forward for X, Y, and Z reason. You have to find your purpose. You have to find who you're doing it for. You have to do it for yourself. You have to develop a positive relationship with yourself. And that's like a lifelong discovery phase. I think one of the greatest questions of humanity's time is like, who am I? Right? Who is Chris Oram? And it's up to me to answer that. And I don't like giving a static answer because Chris Oram is an evolutionary creature. I'm not a smart home guy. I'm not a man. I'm so much more than that. And I think to put yourself in a box is, deplorable. Let's use big vocabulary words. To put yourself in a box is deplorable. Joe Rogan is not just a UFC announcer. He's a comedian. He's a podcast host. He's a marijuana enthusiast. He's a psychedelic enthusiast. He is an interesting guy. And if you want to be the most interesting man in the world, you can't put yourself in a box because that's not what you should do. So you need to constantly be redefining yourself, constantly be evolving as the person you are in the world. And that's really what I have to say. So again, I want to give a big shout out to all the viewers here. I want to give a big shout out to all the guests that couldn't be here. I want to give a big shout out to really anyone who has fucked with the show for the last year and a half. I really just appreciate everyone that has watched the show, supported the show, clicked on the show, shared the show, invited their friends to be on the show. It means the world to me, guys. Without further ado, I think it's about time we're going to wrap up at episode 30 of the show, Elevation with Chris Oram. But just really grateful to be recording episode 30. Most people quit their podcasts after the first 5 episodes. So we've been through ups and downs. We've been through a lot of ups and downs, and we keep pushing. And that's what we're going to continue to do, man. There's so many times that I've wanted to quit the show because a guest didn't show up or something bad happened, and we have to keep pushing. And when you keep pushing and don't quit, success is inevitable. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap episode 30 of Elevation with Chris Oram, the show where we talk to individuals who have climbed the ladder of success. Today we had the very special guest, and that's myself. We talked about the relationship, the you of the world, and having a good relationship with yourself, loving yourself, really is one of the most important things you can do. We're at the brand new studio. I hope you guys really enjoy the quality and the production value of what we're doing here. But really, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll go ahead and see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.